All right, let's start the show. Good evening, everybody. May the 4th be with you. Welcome to episode 82 of my weekly GEMP game review series. I'm your host, Chris Gogolin. Happy May 4th, everyone. Hope you did something Star Wars related today. You're watching this show, so that counts. But if you haven't, if you've also done something else, well, then you get bonus points. There's a whole lot of fun GEMP leagues going on. Thanks to Batmouse for setting all those up. I think these are just one-day leagues. Yeah, these are all just one-day leagues. You got Open, Jawa, all chances to jump in here. Premier to Reflections 2, Premier to Death Star 2, Classic. There are two open leagues. Look at that. This is an open blitz. What's that? I don't know. Oh, you can play up to 1,000 games. That's what a blitz means, apparently. Holy moly. As opposed to the regular leagues where you can still play 1,000. So, all right, I guess he just made multiple leagues, so people could really play in whichever league they wanted and capitalize on all the shinies. Uh, Faster timer, I believe. Well, that could be a thing too. Obviously, the game timer maybe. I don't know. I haven't played in those leagues, but you got plenty of options to play some Star Wars cards today. And it looks like we've got quite a few games going on in the lobby. I do see an OCS game here, so let's pop in to check out and see what's going on between Huge and Dylan. Got to see part of one of Dylan's games earlier today as he was taking on Greg Shaw while I was finishing up. I was still at work, but uh, I had done everything I needed to do and was now just working on stuff that I wanted to get done or should do. All right, so what do we got? We got Imperial Entanglements. Entanglements is flipped and on the 7 side, no occupation out. Versus Yavin 4 Ops. Looks like we've got a Haven on Yavin 4. We've got an Endor with a card stacked under it. We got a Luke piloting there. We've got a Narshada with a red leader and a card stacked there. There's no card under this Yavin, so all right. Huge having quite less cards on the table, it looks like. Or perhaps he's just used the 7 side here to retrieve it or put cards out of play. He's got 3 cards out of play, so he put Walkling. So he used Walkling to retrieve a force, then put Walkling out of play to retrieve another one with his objective. That's a good use of cards. His free ride combo's out of play, so that stinks if unless he's already gotten rid of the occupations. His opponent's got 2 cards stacked as well. But yeah, nice little 31 to 20, so an 11 card advantage. But light side is paying to drain. I mean, they're capped because of resistance, but there are drains of 2 at each system basically. This is only a drain of 1 currently, but 2 and 2 over here. Retrieving 1 with Luke, offsetting some of the damage. His opponent is doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no occupation damage. So he's doing 5 points of damage a turn without paying for it, but he's kind of gassed out right now. They don't really play many other ships, and 4 is usually about the limit. Occasionally you'll see an IE deck run 5 sites, but most of them run 4. There may be another docking bay floating around in here. But if he's maxed out at 5 damage, and his opponent is doing 4 and retrieving 1, then it's essentially a tie. And since Huge has an 11 life force difference, and he can possibly also retrieve a second card with his objective, Huge would win that damage race. So it's going to be up to Dylan to find a way to either increase his damage output or find a way to block his opponent's damage output. And the only way he's going to do that is with more ships in space, and that's where he can get himself into some trouble. It's the light side objective that makes you stack. So, oh, it's on Restore Freedom to the Galaxy. If you have it on table, if you just initiated a force drain at a battleground system, draw Destiny. Add one for each unique stun fighter that's piloted. If total Destiny greater than 5, opponent loses a card and stacks it there. Then it makes light side drain +1. Um, if dark side drains at that system, they get their card back. So it's extra force loss that boosts light side's damage output. That dark side does have a way of potentially getting their cards back. While that was going on, the flagship executor hit the table, but it got barriered. The barrier did not get grabbed because the all wings combo is already grabbed. He swapped Admiral's orders. He's got Weir in attack position now, so he's deploying some guys cheaper, and he's giving his Star Destroyers, each capital adds 2 to, makes it immune to less than 4, or adds 2 if it already has it. Mahdi then increases that immunity by 1. So our flagship executor here is now immune to less than 5. This is what I was meaning by needing to do something to get himself back in the game here. That will certainly qualify as a bold move. The barrier, you kind of have to expect that to happen, especially if your opponent knows you have the flagship executor because you start mob points and you probably took it into hand. If he's just going to kind of spread out like this with just these one little ship, red 1 here, red 5 here. I mean, red 5's good power and immune, but parking this guy at one of your better drain systems. Yeah. So you just gonna initiate the drain. Now he's gonna draw the Destiny. It is a 5. He adds 1 for each piloted snub fighter, so he adds 2, making it 7. So now he causes 1 force loss. So Dylan has to lose a card from anywhere. It'll get stacked under Yavin 4. Just like that. He lost a card from hand. Okay. And now it increases the force drain by 1, so that just became a drain of 2. Oh, you can't see it. I gotta turn around. I gotta drink left-handed so everybody can. I'm using my Yoda mug today too. All right. He uses Luke. He retrieves a force. He's gonna pay the other 3 and drain for 2 more. So he's still draining for 2 and 2. There goes the DS. There goes the battle deployment, the Admiral's order that he replaced after he deployed the executor. So he replaced it then. It goes to your used pile. So he had the 6 in a reasonable position that he could potentially draw it for battle destiny if he had just lost the 3 cards if this hadn't worked by adding an extra 1 damage here. 2 damage technically because it's 1 to stack the card and then the drain was +1. The 6 had to get peeled. Dylan down to just 3 cards in hand. So you're just going to check out his destinies, see what other pilots might be in there that he can match up for with squadron assignments here. We'll talk about some other stuff in a few minutes. We've got a contest going on today. You could potentially win a virtual card design. What's that about? See if I can't find that on my phone so we can talk about that. While we're waiting for Kevin to figure out what he wants to do this turn. All right, so if you didn't see the announcement, special Star Wars Day offer. The Design Advocate, that's Chris Kelly, offering one player a chance to design their own virtual card to be considered. Post on the PC's Facebook or Twitter page with at Star Wars SWCCG or hashtag Star Wars CCG Day a replay of a game you played on GEMP. So play a game on GEMP today and then post your replay link on the PC's Facebook page or on their Twitter page, and then your name will be put into a drawing, and one lucky winner will walk away with a opportunity to design a virtual card. It's not a main design, so you can't just design any card you want, but you can design 80% of the card pool would be up for grabs. All right, so you just got to initiate battle here. He's got green leader in green 1. He can cancel cancel immunity attrition of 1 starship, making this a wing hit. He's just going to have to hope his opponent draws less than 4 here. He's also adding a battle destiny, which is helpful. He draws 7. Yeah, when you're drawing 2 destiny and this thing's only immune to less than 5, I mean, unless you were really suspect about what you have in there, he's got domination out, so he's going to redraw Mara. You're just kind of hoping. Oh, he draws low. That's what you're hoping for, that he draws 4 or less, because if he happened to draw 5, then you have to lose this ship, which is hit, plus then your pilot, who would be forfeit 5. But by drawing 2 destiny and getting to 7, Mahdi does not cover that, so therefore the whole thing just got blown up. So down goes the Executor. Woo! Just like in the movies. He'll put the X-Wing laser cannon out of play, and he will retrieve the starship that he just lost. And we're looking at it now. It's 30 to 15 in terms of life force counts. Darkseid is probably out of starships. Maybe they've got one more. But yeah, we're just going to get into a situation here where Darkseid drains for 5. Lightside pays and drains for at least 4, assuming this ship doesn't move. He should know what that card is because he drew it for Battle Destiny. That should be Sergeant Barrack. That should be a good one to take in a hand. If you can put Barrack along with somebody else on the Devastator, then he can start chasing people around a little bit and at least start blocking one of these drains. So then he'll be losing 4 a turn, which his opponent will have to pay for, which he's got plenty of force to afford. And then he'll be retrieving 2 a turn, though, between Luke and the objective. So he's really only losing 2 cards a turn, as long as he can keep putting stuff out of play, and doing 4 damage back. Huge, definitely in the driver's seat here. It seems like a very favorable matchup for him to begin with. Once you kick Imperial Entanglements out of space, the deck really kind of struggles, because a lot of their damage output is kind of tied into having a battleground system to not have to pay for these drains of 1, and having the occupation damage to go along with it. And Nate, thank you for subscribing. That's your first time subscribing with Twitch Prime. Woo! Yay! Welcome. The Players Committee appreciates your support. Get to 3 months, get a foil. Get to 6 months, get a foil. Get to 12 months, get a foil map objective. What's 3 months? 3 months is the Grand Inquisitor, and 6 months is Ezra. Belugo, you did do your streak to 9 months. Thank you very much for renewing your subscription for that as well. 3 more months to go, and then you get the map foil. And hopefully the objective doesn't change. No, I'm just kidding. And Darkseid has no troopers to retrieve. That would have been one way for them to extend the game a little bit. as if they had a trooper or two and could cause some extra damage that way. But I have to imagine Kevin's already canceled occupation at least once. And if he put his free ride combo out of play and didn't retrieve it, a second occupation may have already gone by. The conventional builds of entanglements usually run like 2 copies of occupation. The speed trooper versions usually run 4. If it changes, you're going to flip some tables. Well, thank you for renewing your subscription, Daniel, for month number 10. Woo! And yeah, I don't see map changing anytime soon. Map actually needs some help again. Everything else around it changed. It got neutered several times over the last 2 years, and everything else around it got some help. So map is actually not good right now. I mean, it's okay. It can still do some cool things and whatnot, but as evidenced by the fact that 0 people played it at the NPC this year, whereas a good number of them played it last year. I think that might tell you something. I think it's really strategic reserves. Losing that ability to just ignore a location, I think really hurts that deck right now. It puts a lot of battlegrounds out and on 2 different planets. So trying to be able to cover with your limited card pool 2 different planets and not being able to easily bounce your guys around uh, has always been an issue for that deck. So if you can't completely lock down one of those drains, set up on Starkiller base and ignore Jakku, and then just kind of block off that Jakku drain, map would be good. So maybe that's what people have to switch their builds up and start putting undercover spies and stuff in it to to deal with that kind of stuff. So Huge still in the driver's seat here. He's paying a drain. He's causing some forced loss. He retrieved some stuff. He's sitting on 26 plus 5 in hand, while his opponent is down to just 9, 26 to 9 basically. It's a pretty sizable lead, and here comes Ray that he retrieved last turn in the Falcon. He'll get a used pile search out of her with 12 cards to choose from. I don't think he'll have enough for another pilot, but does he really need another pilot? Does he really even need to do anything to battle this? I don't think he does. I think he can just camp out right there in front of it for a turn and keep doing his other damage on the other side of the board. They drain for 4, you drain for 4. But you've got a 15 life force advantage. Mention the giveaway for today and tomorrow. Oh, it's tomorrow as well. Tomorrow is Revenge of the 5th. There you go. Oh, well, Haven's out, so that lets Solo sneak down. Oh, all right. Well, there you go. I was wondering where he was. So Solo plus Ray is an extra battle destiny, and Haven adds 1. So now you're getting 3 draws. And Command has been grabbed. But he does have 4 force left available, so he could play it. So Huge is wisely just going to move Red 8 away, spread out. Again, Darkside's down to just 1 ship, really, right? We saw EPP Mara, so Mara and ship would probably be the only other thing he could afford to squeeze out right now, and it's unlikely that he's running both. So he'll take the chance. His opponent will go get the best card using his objective, because he occupies some battlegrounds here, or take the lowest destiny card out. What's he got here? He's got some good stuff on here. He's got Ozzel, he's got Thrawn, he's got Tarkin, and he's got Barrack. So Thrawn adds a destiny. Tarkin could add 1 with Thrawn, so he could draw all 3. But if he does that, if he doesn't have a Biker Scout to go with Barrack, that works out pretty well. If he does have a Biker Scout, then you just don't add the Destiny because Tarkin's optional. So you draw your 2 Battle Destiny and use Barrack to subtract from your opponent, uh, especially if he has the Force available to command as well. Limit his opponent to only drawing 1. But Dylan can definitely, he can cut some diff, he can keep doing some damage, but I think he's a little too far behind to catch up at this point. Ends 12:01 a.m. May the 6th. He will initiate battle. You just going to play an organized attack, which just adds 1 power to Wedge and makes him immune to attrition. So that's pretty good. He will add the 3rd Battle Destiny. Lightside will add a 3rd Battle Destiny. There's the Imp command. He'll pay the 2 Force. So he doesn't have Barrack. So he's going to pull off the command here. So the Devastator here is just immune to less than 4 from the Admiral's order. And he'll have to hope his opponent draws. If he draws a little higher than that, well, Barrack will cover 5 with the rest order out, and then he could retrieve him. Light side, dark side's just trying to draw more than 7 here. There's 7. They get 1 more draw. Nice. That's a good 13 total. Light side draws a 5. He'll have to subtract 1 from it because Ray adds 1 to the total and would make it a 6. He could have lost Ozzel for 6. You don't really need both admirals there. But he'll play the interrupt while he can. So Lightside's going to have to peel 13 from this battle here. I believe Wedge forfeits for 6, right? Yeah. Wedge goes for 6, and then either Solo or Ray forfeits for 7. I would probably lose Solo in this instance, unless he hasn't played in it from his lost pile and has some stuff in there. He's put a lot of stuff out of play, so... yeah, Darkside can lose Barrack. They're going to lose Ozzel anyway. Interesting. Then I don't like that play. If you're not going to lose, he's just going to forfeit both pilots. Interesting. Okay. If you're not going to lose Barrack and then retrieve him, because you want to save the Force to move the Devastator somewhere, back to Tatooine? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you move back to Tatooine, you can at least stop him from stacking another card under Tatooine. Might save you a Force. Does he have a trooper in there to retrieve? I guess maybe he lost another one, so he's got a different guy. There's Elsic. Okay, so he's going to get Elsic back. My point to it is if you're going to lose Ozzel, who forfeits for 6 anyway, then his total Battle Destiny was 6, so the Dark Time doesn't really do anything for you. Might as well save that for when an opportunity actually comes that subtracting 1 makes the difference. So if you draw a 6 again this turn and you don't have that Dark Time, well, now you don't have a way to save somebody good now. So you can't just subtract 1 and lose Barrack. You're going to have to lose somebody good like Tarkin or Thrawn. But we're all kind of arguing semantics here because, again, Huge is pretty far ahead here. He's got a huge lead. We'll check out the OCS leaderboard in a little bit. It's only 4 days into the month, but I know there's some people who have already played 7 or 8 games. So we'll see who currently is standing out there. We mentioned earlier that last week we talked about the April OCS foil was the front side of the Flip Falcon from the old Allies objective. And of course the May foil is the back side, the 7 side of the Falcon. Just in case you didn't get a chance to see the picture last week, there's the image of the backside. I like this one a lot. That's a pretty cool image. And that will be the May OCS foil. Everybody give thanks to Kevin, aka Huge, for all his work, and Team Wales, the Welsh Dragons, and all their work in printing all those foils. I don't have them yet. There's still a delay, obviously, with what they're allowed to do and where he can go to actually do the work that he needs to print all those up. But as soon as things get a little easier there with the coronavirus, uh, we'll hopefully have those soon to be able to get out to everybody before the summer as things start to return to normal. All right, Dylan out of cards in hand. He's going to choose the best one. He's got 6 force left to work with. 24 to 6. Again, he can peel 4 diff off his opponent here. If you were playing a match play scenario or something like that, it might make a difference. But in just a league game or open game, we just play strength of schedule. That's actually a big improvement to live tournament play because you don't need to grind out these last few cards. At this point in time, Dylan could just be like, you know what, Kev, you win. Let's go get something to eat. Let's go have a beer, whatever. Let's take a break before the next game. We still got 20 plus minutes while everybody else is still finishing up. Sometimes that in and of itself is the best you can hope for. It'll actually help set you up for later in the day, chance to get some food or whatever. So he's going to go down swinging. Dylan's going to battle one more time here. He's going to draw 3 Battle Destiny. Light side's also going to draw 3 because they got Poe Dameron back aboard this Falcon. And Haven adding an extra Destiny. All right, so there's a 12. That'll clear Poe and the Falcon, I'm guessing, and leave Wedge just kind of hanging out. And Lightside's going to get their 3 Destiny and see just what they can do. 13 would be the number to get. Oh, he's going to get 12. That'll get him Thrawn and Barrack for 12, leaving Tarkin behind. He does win the battle. He does get to retrieve one more card with Domination. He loses Thrawn. He loses Tarkin. He keeps the Biker Scout. That I don't agree with. Because seriously, there's nothing here that's preventing his forfeit from being modified, right? He legit is. He's only forfeit 4. He's forfeit -1 from Endor. Okay, so I knew there had to be something going on there. If you have no rebels on Endor, blah, blah, blah. If you control each of opponent's biker scouts, is forfeit -1. All right, now this makes a little more sense. Knew there had to be something here. Sometimes you got to click on some cards to see what's going on, to find out all these modifiers. There's a lot of interactions in the Star Wars universe, and it can be a bit of a challenge sometimes figuring out where modifiers are coming from. Did any of you remember that Endor did that? Because I didn't. It's fun. It's thematic. And Dylan's not going to make him go through the motions. He's just going to scoop it, give it to Kevin. They're both European players, so it's after midnight for them there. Maybe they've got an opportunity to get one more game in somewhere before bed, or just call it a night and go get yourself tucked in. Oh boy. All right. We're going to give this game here between Stubbly and Dan a few minutes to get going here. Then we're going to hop in and we're going to heckle Dan and all of his card plays because we know he's still watching. Or perhaps we'll give Dan some advice so he can beat Stubbly. Haven't decided yet. Okay. So let's check out the leaderboard. All these leagues Oh, there it is down here at the bottom. Started 3 days ago, but or 4 days ago, but it's already buried behind 15 other leagues. All right, so we got Greg Shaw off to a hell of a start. He's 8 and 0, sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Dylan's already played 10 games, so he's only got 2 left to go. You're looking at this and you're like, holy crap, that's really bad. But you also have to remember that not a lot of people have played too many games yet. So, I mean, some of Greg's wins could be against people who are right here in this 0 and 1, 0 and 1, 0 and 1 situation. 0 and 2, or 2 and 2, 1 and 1 kind of areas. So there's a lot of games left to be played here. This number is going to come up, I'm sure, as the month goes on. In terms of where else we're at, we got a Gavin at 4 and 1. Jared's 4 and 0, but he's already qualified. He could create another at-large bid. Stubley's at 3 and 1, so that game certainly has some significance. Dan, this is his first game of the month, so he hasn't played any yet. So putting a second loss on Stubley, on Connor there, could certainly curtail his chances. We had our first 10 and 2 of the year qualify Brian Fred last month. So 10 and 2, still capable of getting it done. Just a little, you're on a little bit, shaky ground at 10 and 2. If you're 11 and 1, you feel pretty confident about that. So then we got some other guys. Bastion 2-0, Justin 2-0. Off to good start so far. A bunch of guys 1-0 down here. So yeah, like we said, only 3 days in. Still plenty of time left to go for that. Not too much going on the forums. Let's see if they actually posted did they actually post an announcement? No, we only did it on Facebook and Twitter. We didn't actually post it on the PC forum site. Okay. If you didn't get a chance yet, though, the consolation bracket for the MPC is going to be starting soon. So hopefully we'll have some good games to watch coming up from that. Those you had to tell Bill by yesterday that you wanted to play if in that. Hopefully we'll see that bracket come out pretty soon. And then the other thing is the Bunta Eve Jawa thingamajigger. That this is here it is. Jawa Eve Bunta Eve Jawa Brawl. That Kendall is running. Event will begin May 15th, run for 45 days, play 12 games. So he's going to set up a league that'll run through May and all of June. So he'll have plenty of time to play that. These are the band objectives. We went over that in some detail last week. Black Sun ISB Court Hunt Down Entanglements. Certainly going to curtail some things. Maybe you'll get to see some map being played. Probably see some Bring 'em Before Me. Maybe some My Kind of Scum for Dark Side, CCT Scum, if you're looking for like an alien kind of deck. I think Tadigawa, this deal is getting worse all the time, and it's whether it's the alien version or the Imperial version, we'll certainly see quite a bit of play. Light Side is going to lose Throne Remains. He is the chosen one. No Idea EBO, which was a very popular choice last go round, and Legend. So that will give them my one tree I've learned, of course. I know at least one guy will play that. Probably 2 or 3 people will play that. But it'll have better options like Diplo, like Old Allies. Maybe we'll see somebody play like Rebel Strike Team or something, which might not be a bad meta call. Echo Base Garrisons, Echo Base Operations is banned, but you can still play some type of Hoth Careful Planning just to get the force activation and play like a mains platform. We've seen people do that before. Yavin 4 Ops, which we just saw, obviously going to be very good. Stunning Move for Dark Side could also be pretty good. TTO still viable. Yeah, lots of options. Watch your step for light side. So lots of stuff to play. It is. It's in general discussion. Well, thanks, Dan. May the 4th be with you. I would have thought it would have been an announcement, but I guess you don't have privileges to post there. Here's the information about what you have to do. Design cannot be a main character, objective, or Admiral's Order. Yeah, they don't let player card developers design those cards. No objectives, no Admiral's Orders. You really don't ever get to do epic events either. This doesn't say that, though. So you could hold him to that and make him let you design an epic event, and you can make pod racing good again. That could be it. Come up with a virtual target the main generators that, you know, I don't know, does something different, easier. Can we design a mission? No, you can't design a mission. Subject to standard player card designs. Yes, 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 all that fun stuff. So, all right. So, let's head back over here. We got Dylan going to queue up Imperial Entanglements again. Going to take on Ryan Serson's Mind What You Have Learned. That one should go better for Dylan if he can get the early pressure on. Mind What You Have Learned takes 3 turns to really get itself up and going, needing to spend those early turns getting force activation going, getting Leia and Yoda going and getting them trained. But we're going to pop into this game between Dan and Stubbly, like we said we would. Well, not so great. I appear to have picked the wrong deck. Are we able to cancel? I think try and click options. Oh, so it looks like they are going to play on. It looks like they... So Stubbly's playing a slip sliding away start. He started the Dagobah Cave. You slip sliding away to get him the Endor Forest. And then he's got combat response, Kuat drive yards, and decree. He'll use Kuat. He gets Kashyyyk. He's got matching pilots. He's got Baron with a gun camped out at Scarif. Not going to do much against Capitals, but he'll sure shoot down Rogue One and Gold Leader and Gold One pretty easily. But not going to do much against Tantive, Bright Hope, and Masanya. If they play Masanya. Tantive, Bright Hope are pretty common. Who knows what else Dan's got, which list he borrowed, shall we say. And Stubbly's going to put out a Lord Maul with lightsaber, one of the new Mauls we haven't seen. Just got a new boost. We don't see him too often, but he's starting to pick up some play. He adds 1 to 4 strains, which EPPs don't, so that's a plus. He also adds 1 to your Battle Destiny draws here. It still swings, makes guys forfeit 0. He only swings once, though. But he's Trade Federation. He adds 1 to Battle Destiny draws. If you can combo him up with the Newt Gunray, then you get 2 Battle Destiny. Phantom Menace, which helps Maul's immunity, can pull Nemoidian, so there's some synergy there with good old Newt to get that up and running. Drawing 2 Destiny, possibly more with like I Have You Now or something, Maul Strikes, whatever, and adding 1 to each of those draws can certainly help, especially if you hit a guy at minimum forfeit 0 at the same time. Takes a lot to do, but certainly possible. Maul's still a 1-man wrecking crew, or in that case a 2-man wrecking crew. And then we got Baron with the... These don't look like the good cannons. Oh, they are the good cannons. Okay, good. The other ones can't go on this tie anyway, I don't think so. That would have been weird. But he's got the battleground sight and system, so he satisfies battle order, plays it to make his opponent pay. So Dan does pay to drain. He drains for 2. And then does 1 damage because of Decree from the Stardust ping. And we're going to get some guys going after Lord Maul here. Not just going to be content to sit back and eat a drain of 2. He's going to challenge the Dark Lord over there. He's got all his Scarif locations. This is going to force him to deploy a ship. only 4 force left. I'm not sure what he's got going on there. Unless he's got Rogue One that he can deploy to the docking bay. Oh yeah, and 8 is a drain of 3. Alright, so there's a gold leader in gold 1 to the docking bay. So he's got a ship. Of course, it's a ship that has a permanent pilot, but he'll have to deal with that next turn. With that problem in a minute there. On the plus side, by flipping, he can potentially stop Maul from hitting somebody. Because Maul only adds to battle destiny draws, not weapon destiny draws. This guy's armor 4. Corrin's armor, well, ability 4. No, he's just going to pass the turn. Okay, so it's just a drain of 1 at Scarif, because unless you're Star Destroyer here or Imperial at related location, it's drain -1. Oh, I guess Dan's saying he clicked on the wrong effect. He meant to click on, I guess, Insurrection just to check his destinies or something, instead of clicking on the objective. What are the merits of playing the Dagobah Cave? You hurt the light side playing Yoda, and you don't have to defend it. Not having to defend it is really the huge aspect of it. It's a 2-0 that... Don't let me stop you, Dan. If you guys need to revert a play your game out the way you need to. Yeah, it's a 2-0 that you don't have to defend, because against a deck like this, they can't just drop a spy there and start draining for 2. So you get basically a free 2 force activation that has no penalty to it. Occasionally, this text might kick in. Lose a force during each of your control phases if Yoda on table, but not on Dagobah. So if anybody playing either of the other Yodas, WAP, it might come into play against maybe like Hitco or something. Occasionally, you'll see some people, any decks that have the Jedi Council Chamber, there's a possibility of them running a Yoda. They don't necessarily need to deploy him, though. Combat might a little bit. WAP sometimes does. Alright, so Dan had some counters. Stubley dropped a Blizzard 4, which got the perimeter scan, stop it A from downloading and B from battling. Tarkin's going to hit the docking bay. He's going to get barriered with Dan's last force, so he had some tricks. Now it's going to come down to, does Stubley have a third guy who draws by himself? Need to learn from mistakes. Yeah, and that's why we do the videos. That's why we do the streams. Go back and watch your own games and be like, what the hell was I thinking there? Yeah. I'll still never forget the, 3-4 years ago at the Endor Grand Prix when Johnny Chu said that exact same thing to me. He's like, man, thanks. I'm so glad we have all this streaming now so I can go back and watch my games and learn all the mistakes that I made. It's like when a guy like that tells you, hey, I made mistakes while playing and I need to review them and get better, what the hell are the rest of us supposed to do then, right? All right, so Dan manages to, it's not like I said Dan Man. That's a new superhero, Dan Man. He's Dan Man. So Dan manages to avoid all the damage this turn by shutting down the Blizzard 4 and the Tarkin. So he might have some options here now. And Maul didn't battle either. Not looking to basically just trade characters, especially while they're on the 7 side, and one of these guys is very likely to live. You gotta draw two fives uh, to hit somebody. So we'll see what Dan's got left up his sleeve. Now, by being flipped, he can't go get extra ships, and he's only got 3 cards in hand. And whether it comes down to, and neither of these guys are pilots either. So it's not even like he can just like deploy a guy here, battle Blizzard 4, and then walk whoever lives over and then just take off. Just to block the drain, make him shoot you, like that kind of stuff. He did cycle a card with Vanden Willard. Maybe he picked up something useful. I don't. Maybe. I'm trying to think. I don't know if the rules. I'd have to go look it up. I don't know if the rules allow you to docking bay transit. Starships. I'd have to go look that up. That's, I want to say no, but. Alright, so he's got some reinforcements. They're invading the beach. Should still be okay here for Dan. They're both going to draw 1 destiny. Light side draws a 2, which is fine. All they needed to do is make sure they got rid of Blizzard 4. Oh, wow! Wow. That's a shot in the nards. Stubbly draws a 0, so nobody has to die. And he's going to gick the extra damage. I can't tell if Dan's excitedly happy or excitedly upset because he was counting on losing something and maybe having less force to worry about. I'm not sure. Yeah, then he's going to move over. Thank you, Greg Shaw, for pointing out that he doesn't have any characters in the lost pile yet. So he won't be canceling any weapon destinies by putting guys out of play. That's true. I don't play No Idea a lot, so. Alright, so he's going to move over, protect that gold leader. That'll flip the objective back to the 0 side. And then he'll get to draw a handful of cards here. Dan's going to play a do or do not shield. What does he know? Because he has an Imperial on Endor now, though, he does get to drain for 2. Hey, there's a guy in the lost pile. Oh, he also lost a Luke. Stubbly will accelerate now to get that bridge out of his deck. It's always the turn when you draw the puller for it, too. Then you end up drawing it for Battle Destiny. It's one of those situations where you don't want the 0 in the deck, but at the same time, you've just given your opponent. And luckily, this is a drain -1 site. It's like you just gave your opponent another site to go drain you at. unless you're Jedi here, force drain -1. So it is only a drain of 1 there. This is still a nice little potential drain of 2. Alright, Maul's going to go for broke here. He's going to try and get these knuckleheads out of here. Plus, Dan just drew a whole bunch of cards, so he doesn't want to get himself into a situation where Maul's going to get overwhelmed, especially because he already just burned his Gick to save the 3 damage, well, 2 damage really, on Blizzard 4. He swung at the Endor Commando team. And he's back on the 0 side, so he can't cancel that. So that guy's going to get hit. And he becomes power -2. And unless Stubbly draws a 0 or a 1, with Maul's text adding 1 to it, he'll crack Cornhorn's immunity less than 3. There you go. That should do the trick. I can't imagine Dan has any locations left in his deck at this point, but maybe he's going to draw like a 2 or a 3. There you go. He draws a 2. And he will retrieve. And he'll get his Luke back. Doesn't have to burn his Walkling yet to do that. So everybody dies at the forest clearing. And I'm sure Tarkin runs away to rejoin his old pal Vader. You think back to the beginning of Star Wars, all the way back to premiere back in 95, 96. Vader and Tarkin together, man, that was a brutal combo. Those guys will hold down a sight like nobody's business. And now they're both virtual versions, and neither of the original versions see any play, really. See Tarkin run away to the beach, and we'll see Stubbly probably draw 3 or 4 cards, get some life back in his hand, get himself some more options. Kimura renewing his subscription for month number 6. Thank you very much for that, Andy. I always appreciate the support. May the 4th be with you. I wish I could do like the Vulcan thing. I can't. This finger doesn't go over that far. I'd be like, may the 4th be with you. Just piss off so many people, I'm sure, with that. Uh, there you go. It's may the 4th be with you. We'll go 4 horsemen style. Back-to-back weeks of me on your show. How about that? Yeah, well, I don't ever get to be on your show, so, you know. All right. Is the other game over already? Did they cancel it? Nope, they played it out, and yeah, Dylan wins. So they just happen to finish and scoop it pretty quick. Like I said, it's a bad matchup for Maiwinchev Learn, especially if he gets the occupation out early, because then he's doing like 7 or 8 damage a turn by like turn 2, turn 3. And Maiwinchev Learn needs time, and IE can be too fast for it sometimes. Especially if it was Trooper IE, it would just no, just scoop. Unless you've got 2 or 3 cancelers in hand. All right. So while we were away, Dan caused 1 force loss. Did he drain? He did not drain because he needed all his force. Gets the Profundity out of his deck, which deploys -2 because it's a system opponent occupies. He will put Luke aboard as a pilot, and then Gold Leader will take off just to get himself out of that situation. And then he's going to embark aboard, not dock, uh, and then run away. And then get out. There you go. Oh, maybe he's not getting out. Oh, Connor's just taking an action to pull the firepower shield because Dan did deploy stuff and not battle. Oh, my wife's checking in on me. She's not feeling well again today. Hopefully it's just allergies, but she was a little stuffy. She was sneezing. The cat was sneezing all day too, so I'm thinking that hopefully it's just a little allergy kick because the weather has been so nice the last 2 or 3 days. It's finally up in like the 70s here, which is awesome. And hopefully that will kill off a lot of these germs, and then we can go back outside again without dressing up like we're something out of G.I. Joe. And Jin Urso's going to block the ground drain for at least a little while. No weapons there, so no sniper, no force lightning options available. Could be a Ice Heart, could be an Uta Guta in the move phase or something. Alright, there's a matching Slave 1. And he's found himself a Fett. That guy adds a Battle Destiny, but he's going to need a co-pilot in order to get 2. And then he's going to need to have the force available to pay for it. There's a Trooper Patrol. So I guess we're going to see Vader and Tarkin move back over to block the drain. We'll see if Baron gives chase. Yep, looks like Stubbs is just going to shuffle some people around. He will move Vader and Tarkin and over to join the patrol. Dan's going to pull the weapons display shield. However, since he does not control both a battleground site and battleground system, he will not be retrieving any extra force. Stubbs will move Saber 1 over, so that's a pretty solid force there right now. Both pilots add a Battle Destiny, and he's got enough ability, so he's getting 3 Battle Destiny here. Saber 1 adds to the total, and he saved force to shoot with the cannon, because of course if you shoot Gold Leader down by drawing anything other than a 0, then you don't have to worry about paying for all these extra destinies. It was 90 here 2 days ago. Now it's 59 and raining. Alright, so Dan's going to retrieve 1 with Luke. Get back his escape pod combo. Put a 5 back in the deck. No idea. Always has a... sometimes going to have an issue with drawing good cards for Destiny. High Destiny cards. Because of the 20 to 25 characters that typically are run in the deck. Dan finds an evac control. He's got Galen, he's got Hujix, he's got blue 11 on it. Well, the evac control is pretty solid against this, as it would limit him to one destiny. The problem is that Gold Leader still gets shot in the face, and this has no immunity, so even one destiny is going to be good enough to clear quite a bit. But could certainly come in handy in a number of situations. Commander Melshi is going to hit the table. When deployed, you can upload, throw me another charge, or a trooper. Troopers are power and forfeit -1 here. He uploads Ensign Chad. Now he's present with the Stormtrooper. He adds a destiny to total power. And now Leia Organa hits the table. When she's with an Imperial leader, she can add a destiny to power or attrition. So this is quite a little force that the light side has here. He is going to use the evac control. To stop Stubley from drawing more than one. Stubley will still go ahead and use Tarkin anyway, just for hoo-ha's. Chad's going to add the destiny to power, and Leia's going to add the destiny to power as well. So Dan's going to draw 2 power and 1 battle destiny. That's a good start. That's kind of a card you wish you had for, it's good power. Obviously, he's going to outpower him quite a bit here. But that'd be a good card to have for battle destiny to make sure you clear some stuff. But you're tomato in terms of what you have to lose from the site versus possibly peeling cards from hand in this situation. I probably would have added the destiny to attrition with Leia, just because you're already outpowering him anyway. $644, pretty solid. So he's got a huge power advantage right now. He's up by, 19? If he had done it the other way, he's got 8 attrition. He's still down by... He'd still be down by 10 power and have 8 attrition instead of being down by 14 power. So maybe the power works out better mathematically. Seems like it does. So 14, huh? That seems like Vader and Tarkin cover 14. But then you have to ask yourself, what do I have to back up that patrol? It's a tough choice if you're Stubley. You've already burned your Gick. Do you want to lose all 3 guys and concede the site entirely? Or do you want to lose Vader and Tarkin and then have to worry about moving the patrol away and backing him up next turn? You move to the beach. You deploy guys to the beach and move the patrol over. But he's only got 7 cards in hand. Yep. He's going to peel some cards. He's got 7 attrition, so Vader has to go, or he could lose Tarkin and the Trooper and keep Vader, which is what he's going to do. So he's going to peel a few cards, and he loses Tarkin and the Trooper. So he peeled Gideon, Kyrkanos, short-range fighters, all power to weapons, and a Sith Fury. And now Dan will wisely get the Profundity out of dodge. And probably pick up a card. Anybody have any fun Star Wars related stories to share today? Anybody make some blue milk on their cereal this morning, or have a hamburger? My wife bought me the Star Wars cookbook. Like, I think it was like our second year dating or something like that. It has all those cute little word pun recipes. Everybody have their chicky nuggies and chalky milk to celebrate the child from the Mandalorian series. That's what I was watching a little bit today before the show started. Finally, signed up for the old Disney Plus now that I've kind of run out of other options to watch stuff on. I've seen everything on Netflix and Hulu that interests me at this point, and we're running out of new shows coming out because it's the end of the regular season, and a lot of summer shows typically film in February, March, April for their big summer releases. But the productions, a lot of them were shut down, so there's not going to be a lot of TV to watch this summer. So maybe towards the end of the year, maybe get some live shows or stuff. Um, but yeah, so I got myself a Disney Plus subscription finally, and watched the first 3 episodes of The Mandalorian. No spoilers. All right, so Stubley's going to come back. He's got a black 2, which will stop the all wings combo and organized attack that we saw in that last game. It's also another ship that's immune to less than 5. He may leave one ship here now. He also drops Maul. Oh, and a second Tarkin. All right, so he's back in business, but evac is still on the table, so no second Destiny, and he's not adding one to the draws either because of Lord Maul being stopped by evac there. Stubley probably moves Saber 1 with the gun, and you can make a case to leave Fett behind there, to kind of try and trap him a little bit, and stop just playing this shuck and jive kind of thing that they've been doing for a while now. Dan's going to pop Walkling here to get back his wedge and ship. If he's got a second ship in hand, that could be pretty good. However, my only criticism of this play, there it is. Do it during the draw phase, Dan. If he was going to leave Fett there, it was still a move phase. If he was going to leave Fett there by himself, if you had a ship in hand plus wedge, you could just go clear out Slave 1, and then these guys could then run away safely. By doing it during the move phase, you telegraph it and tell your opponent, oh crap, I can't leave Boba Fett there by himself, and move him over. Maybe he was going to bring Fett anyway. We'd have to ask him to find out for sure. But you pretty much guarantee when you retrieve the ship and pop the Walkling that he's definitely not leaving him alone, especially because he's just going to use the objective and go get Wedge. He still can do that, but it just means he's more likely to get shot. Watch Clone Wars. Ending was amazing. Yeah, I have to catch up on Rebels first because I haven't seen any of Rebels ever. Because I know, obviously, from Clone Wars we see some stuff, and I don't know where. I'm guessing Clone Wars just obviously stole Clone Wars stuff. Rebels is a little later in the timeline. Rebels is between like Rogue One time between episodes 3 and 4, I guess. So maybe I'll watch the extra of the Clone Wars. I have to go back and watch the last episode of that to figure out how it actually ended. I feel like it ended with like Ahsoka just walking away or something, but I don't know. It's been 5 or 6 years. I'll have to go back and catch that up. Okay. So what do we got here? Luke retrieved one. Stardust caused 1 ping damage. We got a pile of ships. We got a pile of guys. We're all stacked up, which is usually not how these decks usually go. Usually they're a little more horizontal, not so much vertical, but that was the end before this season. Okay. Clone Wars is before Rebels, right? You did it to force him to move Fett. Okay. And speaking of rebels, here comes one of our rebels, Ezra Bridger, making his appearance. He's going to go to the security tower. As long as he can maintain 2 battlegrounds, he'll get around Coward, although he's already pulled 4 shields. Still could be cold feet floating around. We don't see a whole lot of turning off these days. Really just hits Lando for light side. Nobody really uses that Han Chewie Falcon. And Dan's going to move some people away. At a tremendous use of force. And he will also need force to move away at the system to keep this stuff alive and popping. Oh, he shuttled somebody up. He shuttled up Commander Melshi. Give himself a little forfeit fodder up there in space. So now he can forfeit this guy for 6 because of insurrection. Pick up the ship, move over. Nice and efficient. Pop back into the lobby real quick. This is still going on here. Looks like Ryan's picking up, going to start another game here against Yodad. Ryan's pretty close to finishing with his game. Ryan's already played 8. What's that? 3 and 5 for Ryan so far this month. So I'm sure he's just going to crank through them all in the next 2 or 3 days, and then he'll go back to playing some of these quarantine leagues. And I think this is Yodad's first or second game this month. He's over here. That'll be his first game of the month. And Stubley will get to retrieve one because he deployed Ezra and then ran away. So he'll get Mara back. So now nothing. Nobody's done anything Star Wars related other than just play games on GEMP, which is acceptable. Alright, so Dan's going to get drained for 2 in space and none on the ground because Jin's still hiding there, blending in with all those other Imperials. Just like in the movies. The rebels are all stuck at the beach waiting to die, and Jin's just kind of wandering around. Vader's custom tie? What? While Vader piloting, immune to attrition less than 5, and during battle may cancel game text of a passenger or pilot of ability less than 4 here. No passengers, no pilots of ability less than 4. So currently not doing anything, but you can pair him up nicely because of what Vader's text says. During battle at a system, twice if with the Black Squadron pilot, he can cumulatively subtract 2 from a just drawn destiny. So pair him up with Black 2, and you can subtract 4 from a destiny or 2 from 2 destinies. Of course, evac control still stops that as well, but at some point in time, Stubley's got to try to find a way to make Dan get these cards off of evac and see what he can do here. JagTech's birthday. Yes, it is Justin's birthday. I did see that in the Slack chat today. He's probably not watching. He's probably out. He's probably at home, living it up, living his best life, having some virtual cake. But if you happen to watch the YouTube version of this later, happy birthday, Justin. May the 4th be with you. Hopefully, it's like your 24th birthday, I think. He's a youngin'. He might be a little older than that, but he looks like he's 24, so we'll go with that. Yeah, it's... Alright, so he's splitting up the ties. So you got 2 Battle Destiny here, subtract 2. You've got 2 Battle Destiny here, add 1 to the total, and have a gun. So he's got a pretty solid trap either way. Obviously, staying away from the gun is preferable to keep the gold leader alive. And you've got the 6 forfeit, and you can justice to limit him to the 1 draw and stop him from modifying yours for a bit. So Dan's not in terrible trouble here, and obviously he does still have other ships of his own. And he is going to get some force drains here. Stubley keeps putting more cards on the table. So we're looking at life force counts here. 15 and 3, 18 to 19. So we're about even. This game's been fairly even most of the way. But yeah, the text on this that cancels game text of a passenger, shutting down Padme is pretty cool. There's a few other passengers. Sometimes you'll see Mon Mothma or Bail Organa are passengers quite often that do stuff. The other thing Ezra Bridger does that's pretty cool. Start of opponent's turn, if he's at their site, they choose. Their force generation is -X, or you get to activate X, or X is the number of dark side icons here. So Stubley either has to activate 2 less, which is probably what he'll choose now because he's got so few life force, or let Dan activate 2 at the start of his turn. So that would give Dan more force to spend on his opponent's turn. Probably not something you ever want to do. It gives them options for spending force for grabbers or people that reacting troopers, etc. Moving undercover spies. You really have to weigh out how badly you need those 2 force. So he gets a drain of 2 and a drain of 2 and then 1 ping damage. So solid turn. There goes the Infiltrator, a Sonic, an actual effect version of Code Clearance to boost the ability to forfeit 3 guys, and an Accelerate, and then another Sonic. And this is where Lightside's going to start to spread them out a little bit. We've got Chirrut, we've got Rey. Rey's going to now get a card from the used pile. He spent 8 force. Could be enough for a ship, could be enough for just an extra guy for some forfeit fodder. Not that he really needs it, because again, there you go, there's a Bright Hope. That's a solid card. Because the concern, of course, is that he spins. He's got the short range combo to get around Justice. This is maneuver 5, so he spins and then he draws Destiny, and it's greater than 6, and you have to lose more than just Melfi. If you can offset some of that with a Bright Hope, maybe even if it's only a 2 or a 3, maybe it's enough that you only have to lose your janky trooper guy. And at the same time, of course, pick up some extra forfeit along the way. Now, Darkseid will get to retrieve one with firepower because he deployed guys and didn't battle, but small price to pay for extending the pressure. And the other thing, of course, for Dan is having his Hujix on evac control really saves you from getting in any bad jams. Because no matter what he deploys anywhere, you're like, oh, I'll just go pick up that card. You've got your get out of jail free card easily accessible. You'll just pick to activate 2 less. Yep. Instead of activating 15, you activate 13 when you only have 12 cards left in your reserve deck available to activate. Seems like a smart move. So we got a drain of 2. Keeping the pressure on. Again, keeping this game close. It's 15-14 right now. But Lightside is doing more damage. And they may have possibilities for little bits of retrieval. I mean, you've got Luke who's doing a steady retrieval. Plus the option, if he happens to draw a trooper for Destiny somewhere, he could also pick up another retrieval. Stubley's going to check his Destiny by revealing Marek Steel. There's no matching ship for him. But he does make an Imperial Starfighter maneuver +2, and he draws if unable to otherwise. Opponent can also not cancel or substitute draws here. Really good way to get around the All Wings combo, or Wedge, Red Squadron Leader. Also making an Imperial ship maneuver +2. Alright, so we're going to get another Blizzard 4. So he throws Marek Steel down. This seems likely. Either he's going to just wait, let him battle him and pop Decree, or he'll initiate battle and pop Decree, but ooh, it cost him 6. Why did that cost +1? Your combat vehicles deploy +1 here. It's on the docking base text. Just in case you're curious, Dan. Did not know that. Now he can't battle, now he can't move, and pay upkeep and all that kind of stuff. So whatever he had planned, that extra 1 force, gonna completely spoil his plans. Dan's gonna be kind enough to offer a revert. See if Connor wants to undo all that. And it looks like Dan's gonna let him go ahead and do it. So I think what his plan was deploy this for 5. He'd have 3 force left. He can put all his guys on it and then move. There you go. I'll go over here instead. And block that drain over there. Still not picking up anything. Not sure what Connor's move here is. If Marek is just a sacrificial lamb. Well, apparently Connor loaded up the wrong deck at the start of the game. We talked about that at the beginning. Was typing as you said it. That's because, great minds and all that. Alright, so Saber 1's going to move over. Yeah, he's just going to hang Marek out. He'll use Decree, I guess, one more time to stop the Stardust ping. And then pop it if he needs to draw Battle Destiny. Problem is, by doing it this way, is if Dan has other characters, Marek could get hurt a little bit. And Dan's going to stack some Destinies. So he puts a card back with Vanden Willard, picks up an Ant-Man, which he's then going to play used. So now he's got whatever card he put back, probably something a 4 or 5, and then a Destiny 5, if he remembers where he put them. I think he does. And he still has the option to use Cheer It, too. He could actually activate all the force, spend a couple of it, so the 5 is on top of his used pile, then use Cheer It and recirculate it. I know, it's sneaky. Alright, so he gets a Drain of 2 at the beach. He'll get 1 ping damage off the Stardust as well. There goes a Stormtrooper Garrison off the top of reserve deck. There goes a Stormtrooper Garrison from a hand. Retro. And there's the 1 Stardust ping, so he'll absorb 1 more damage and lose the Accelerate from the used pile that he paid his maintenance with. And there's a Lieutenant Blount. It's Jerry's favorite character. It's also one of those Baldwin brothers. Well, he forfeits for 5, so he covers up to 8. Now you have to figure how many extra cards are you going to lose in the battle. You know he's drawing the 5 because you saw him put it back. So it's 11 to 3. He covers 8. You'd peel 3 cards. Is the game going to go 3 more turns? That Decree is going to save you 3 more damage? That's the math you have to do. And the answer is probably not. So he'll draw Destiny here. Try to absorb as much of that 3 damage as he can. Hopefully all of it. It's a 4. That'll cover. So 11 to 7. Blount dies, Marek dies, and Ezra hangs out at the security tower one more time. And we got a battle over here as well. And Dan's going to use Chirrut's game text. Peek at top card of any reserve deck. He looks at his opponent's reserve deck, and he decides to put it back. He moves it to the force pile. Okay. Dan's going to draw a card with Ray while he can, and use Chirrut's text to recirculate. There's a 5 that he put back. That's the card he put back with Vanden Willard. So two fives sitting nicely together. And he's now split them up so he can get back to them on opposing turns if necessary. Darkside just draws a 2. Ray is immune to that. Chirrut is not. So Chirrut dies and Blizzard 4 dies. And when Chirrut dies, he tries to retrieve Baze, but Baze is not in the loss pile. And Stubbly's got to lose Blizzard 4. So Connor's down to 12 and 3 in hand. Dan's sitting at 13 with 5 in hand. He's getting no damage here on the ground. This is still a drain of 2. Pile everybody aboard. We'll pile one thing up aboard and then spend 2 and move them both away to block this drain. Now he's getting 2 damage out of the Stardust. Dan doesn't move. Not at all what I thought he was going to do. He's going to stand his ground right in front of this pile of guys and draw a couple cards. Interesting bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Well, you know, if he's tracking stuff around, he could get that Ant-Man back. With Vanden Willard, that could affect the gun a little bit, make him have to pay an extra force to shoot it, subtract 1 from his destiny. He'll still get the Bright Hope action going. Maybe he's got a reacting spiral or something to go with it. He saved 4 force, so Dan's got to have something up his sleeve, otherwise he would have just moved away. We're going to check out Connor's reserve deck. It's got a 5, a 2, and a 4 in it. Dan's got to keep your eyes open to stop the weapon. There you go. That'll do it. That's a good trick. So no Saber 1 cannons. He has to lose a force. He loses the Tantive from his force pile. Fett will exchange, so he'll take the 2 out of his reserve deck and swap something higher destiny from hand. Although it's unlikely to matter because he's just going to evac a card here. But he cancels Melshi's game text because, yeah, sure, why not? You might as well, right? Pick up the card off evac. He'll take the guy, take the Galen, have a character, sure. So Darkside's going to need a spin here, otherwise this is going to be painful. There's the spin. He has to pay 1 for it. Interesting. Even though he's substituting it. That doesn't seem quite right, but I guess it does. Must first use 1 force to draw a card for Battle Destiny here. So I guess you have to first use the force, and then instead of drawing the card, then you get to substitute. It makes logical sense, but I'm sure there's a counter argument to that somewhere. And then he'll draw the 5. So he's got an 11 for a total here. Dan's going to need to draw something pretty solid with the Bright Hope. It's also +1 from Baron. So he's got a 12 for a total. That's a guy you'd like to have right about now in your hand. If you can track him around with Vanden Willard, Cassian can cancel a Battle Destiny. Could come in handy somewhere down the line. And because he is a Rebel Trooper guy, he does get to retrieve a force, so he gets to keep your eyes open back. Now he's got a 5 right where he can keep an eye on it. But he is significantly outpowered here. And that may be more problematic than just the... Okay, there's the 5, there's the Ant-Man. Vader can subtract from that to make it just a 3. So 29, and all of Darkseid's cards are immune to attrition. Dan's going to forfeit everything except the profundity with Luke aboard. Alright, so Luke's going to hang out long enough to retrieve a force. Now you get into a situation where do you preemptively move some people? Does he chase on the ground? He is going to preemptively move one of the ships. So kind of, again, pincer move. Keep Luke stuck somewhere, basically. And now we'll see if he also wants to make a move with Maul and Tarkin to the beach. Nope, he's just going to go to draw. These guys are really just doing nothing here. But Luke is, for all intents and purposes, stuck. He's going to need to... He's got guys on the ground he could shuttle up for more forfeit fodder if necessary. But of course, the thinner he makes himself on the ground, the more likely he makes it that Maul and Tarkin start to chase. But right now, this is a drain of 2, plus there's a 2 Stardust ping. This is a drain of 2, and this is a drain of 2. So Dan's doing 8 damage here to a guy who's got 14 cards left. And he gets to retrieve a force. There's an accelerate from hand. There's a masterful move from hand. Stubbs is going to play a cold feet just because he can. Play it before you lose it, right? There's a drain of 2 at the beach. There's a drain of 2 at the forest. And the Stardust is going to ping for 2 now because there's no decree out. And that's pretty much going to be game, I think. Because even if this Profundity and Luke go down in a fiery wreck, he's probably still in a position where he can pay to drain and do Stardust ping next turn. Pay, even if he can't drain here because these guys move over or something, he can pay, and ping for 6. So Connor's going to go ahead and scoop it. Congrats to Dan on winning his first OCS game of the month. He is officially, once again, far ahead of Jerry on the scoreboard. Looks like Jerry's going to be wearing Pittsburgh paraphernalia for the rest of his life at this point. So congrats to him for picking up his win, putting him into this 1-0 pile. And he's at the top of the 1-0 pile. Look at that, because of his strength of schedule. Picking up the win over Stubley, who was 3-1, who now drops to 3-2. But still a lot of games left to be played. We're only on day 4. And I'm sure we'll have a lot more exciting stuff going on. Holding your breath most of that game. Yeah, that's bad, Dan. You got to remember to breathe. Breathing's important. It's almost important as drinking. So, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to do all your little posting your replay links to Facebook, to Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, make sure you get that. Tweets, twats, whatever going, and then you can be in the running to get a virtual card design. You got today and tomorrow to do that, so plenty of time left to play some games and get that submitted. Then you can design your own virtual card. Be sure and tune in this Wednesday to Hollow Theater. Dan, do you guys have a guest for Wednesday this week that we can I can announce for you? Give you a free plug, 5 seconds. Oh, you got a foil Minoc, nice. Matt Carulli, special advocate, special projects advocate. Matt Carulli. Matt and his team did an amazing job behind the scenes setting everything up for the MPC. Some programming adjustments, a lot with the server side of things, expanding things temporarily. I know we had to pay extra. We had to cough up a little money to pay a little extra to increase our server capacity for the MPC, so the whole thing didn't blow up. Plus, fix a lot of bugs and set up a whole bunch of other stuff for the streaming that we did. So certainly should be a good time. A lot of good questions for Matt, I'm sure. I don't know what kind of a speller Matt is, but tune in Wednesday and you can find out. But that's going to wrap it up. May the 4th be with you, and I hope you guys enjoyed your Star Wars day. All the movies are available on the Disney Plus platform, including Episode 9, which they just released today, I think, on the streaming service. It's been on DVD for a while, but, who still buys those, right? We'll see you back here next Monday. Actually, we will not see you next Monday night. Next Monday is my wife's birthday. So I will be spending the entire day with her. I don't know what we're going to do because obviously we can't really go anywhere, but we're going to do something. And I will let's just say it. I'm not doing my show next Monday. We got Mother's Day and then her birthday back to back. So, yeah. But we'll try and do something maybe later, a different day in the week. Maybe I'll do something Tuesday. I don't know. I'll do something Wednesday at 7, and then you guys can just roll right into Hollow Theater. No, I won't do that. But again, thank you guys for watching. Have a great night, and take care.